What's going on, guys? This is Mars Brigade 99 coming to you once again with another session of Killzone Shadow Fall. Alright guys, we are back at it again with a few more Scout Class Showcase videos. Alright, now, this is basically going to be a one, maybe a two-part series, basically revisiting the Scout Class. Now, why is it a revisit? Well, if you guys are familiar with the channel, I'm pretty sure you guys would know my previous positions on the Scout Class. That being, you know, number one is my least favorite. Well, it was my least favorite class, and it was largely due to the fact that the way that the weapons were, they were good at a distance, but you know, whenever you kind of got in some of those up close fights, I'll say mid-range, maybe in a few cases somewhat close range, you would get outclassed all the time. And in addition to that, with some of the abilities that the Scout Class had, in order for them to really be effective, you would have to be relatively closer than what some of the Scout Class weapons would provide for. So in other words, let's just say the scan and mark, spot and mark. You know, let's just say that. In other words, in order for you to benefit your team, just like I'm doing now, you guys notice I just went on ahead and did the spot mark. So not only I know the location of these guys, but also my team would know their location. So in other words, in order for that to be really effective and to benefit everybody and not just myself, I would need a really decent weapon so that I could at least defend myself, you know, in the time that those situations would call for. So that was the main problem that I had with the Scout Class. But recently, I'm pretty sure a lot of you Killzone Shadow Fall players would know, we got a patch, and that patch has improved the Kameraad. So this is the weapon that I'm using now, and this is the weapon that I will use like 99% of the time that I will play the Scout Class. Now the Force is good, the Volter is good. Granted, everyone has their own preferences, but because I'm the type of person that kind of like get in there, fight, you know, not necessarily only run and gun, you know, not only run and gun to the extent that let's just say an assault class player would do, but you know, my play style is really not the type to sit back in the background and snipe from a distance. It's boring. I've tried it. I didn't like playing that way in Killzone 2. I didn't like playing that way in Killzone 3. And I didn't like the way the Scout Class was basically created at the release of this game. But like I said before, now that the Kameraad has been buffed, it's an awesome weapon for that class. Now, keep in mind, you know, if you get head-to-head against an assault class player, like unless their aim is bad or there's serious lag, dude, you're out of there. I mean, you could pretty much forget it. If you were to come head-to-head against a good support class player who's using a pulver, in most cases, you're pretty much out of there. So, you know, this is not to say that the Scout Class is now on par with Assault and or with Support Class, for which they shouldn't be on par. But at the same time, they should have at least one weapon that would allow them to defend themselves should they find themselves in kind of like sticky to tight situations. And now that we have received this rightly deserved buff with the Kameraad, it does that, in my opinion, and it does it very well. So with the revisit, I'm going ahead and showcasing how I am on the front lines. Not front, but relatively closer than what a lot of Scout Class players are. Right, I'm in there with my fellow support, my fellow assault class, and I'm doing fine. As a matter of fact, I think in this particular map, I think I go like 20 and 10 or something like that. And I know, you know, some of the naysayers will say, well, Brigade, you can't just upload your favorite matches and then, you know, make an argument for it. Well, of course I can. But at the same time, I can't upload every single Scout class, Warzone that I play. But the point is not to suggest that an individual Warzone's result is typical of all Warzones. The point is, especially for a lot of those guys who love Killzone, who are interested in the Scout class, but who once, just like me, didn't really like the class because of the weapons. So a lot of these videos that talk about the Scout class and showcase, some of their abilities is basically to serve as a motivation for a lot of these guys that may have had a problem with Scout class, or for those who played Scout class and didn't necessarily how to benefit a team. So, like I said before, this particular video, a lot more on the front lines than in the second video, and the second video is what I would consider to be an ideal Scout class. He's not as close on the front lines as I am in this video, but at the same time, he's not, he's not camping basically. So, in the second, as a matter of fact, I will make this a two-part series, right? The two-part series, like I said before, the Scout class revisited. And is basically, the revisited part is basically after the recent patch and buff to the Kameraad. Now, one of the downsides to this recent patch is that they nerfed the crap out of the cloak kills, brutal melees. I don't know why they did that. I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know if it was by mistake, but they nerfed it big time. So it's a lot more difficult to get those. As a matter of fact, I don't even think you can do a cloak kill brutal melee anymore. They got rid of it. At best, you can just run up, to your enemy and swing, and hopefully you'll get the hit. The downside to that, dude, I don't know how many times I have missed swings because, you don't get that window to be able to exercise a brutal melee. So that's the downside. But aside from that, I am totally fine with the Scout class as it currently is. Totally fine. And with that being said, I really hope that GG does not make any more changes. Because I can understand them tweaking certain things. I've heard in certain videos where they said, well, we're going to lay down a base with the release of the game, and as time goes on, we're going to work on it and improve it based upon player feedback. And one thing that I have said in plenty of videos in the past, sometimes you can make too many changes while trying to appeal to the crybabies, and you actually dumb down the game, which kind of brings me to another subject. I really think with, especially in first-person shooters, with, let's just say, auto aim, some of these options where you can automatically spawn in on a teammate, I really think it kind of dumbs down the player base, which is yet another reason why I like Killzone Shadow Fall, because it doesn't dumb you down. In other words, there's no freebies of just being able to automatically spawn in on somebody, like, let's just say Battlefield. Or, it's not one of those things where, you get aim assist, so you can pride yourself after basically having your aim adjusted by the in-game mechanics, like, let's just say, Call of Duty. This game does not dumb you down. Now, I'm not saying you have to be some hotshot chess player type thinker to be able to play it. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is I really think a lot of these games dumb players down in that they do too much for them. Like, there should be a learning curve to games. Now, granted, yeah, it's just a first-person shooter. And yes, the overall point is to shoot and get kills. But I really think a lot of these first-person shooters should incorporate more team-based objectives and missions to force players to play as a cohesive unit and not just perform well as an individual. Because actually that's one of the main reasons why I like this game, because the war zones are heavily dependent. Actually, let me take that back. The outcomes to these war zones heavily depend upon team cooperation. And if you're not working together as a team, you're screwed. And speaking of that, I have another video coming up wherein I believe I'm in the Spire. And dude, I'm going to basically talk about how, actually you'll see for yourself, like I'm the only one dropping spawn beacons, right? And just with that one thing being as important as it is to the team, you know, number one, I was the only one dropping spawn beacons. I dropped them like at locations that were basically fail-safe. Aside from that, I got the most kills, even though our team got demolished. But at the end of the day, it really has a lot to do with teams being coordinated. Because I know I mentioned in a video or two back that in a lot of cases, when you are getting demolished, it's not necessarily that your opposition are just, you know, 12 elite players. In some cases, it could be that, you know, they're better organized. You know, one reason they could be better organized is because, let's just say they're better organized because they're in a clan and they play pretty often together and they know each other's strengths and weaknesses and they play on those strengths and weaknesses. Another situation is, let's just say they're not a clan, they're just, you know, randoms, but all of them, or at least most of them, are relatively experienced enough to where, like, you don't need to hold their hand. They don't need a guide. They can function well as individuals. And, you know, sometimes you can get outplayed then. And the last situation is basically where you just have better shooters, right? May it be because they're using a wire connection, maybe they have better internet speeds and all that other things. So, like I said before, there are a few instances where just because you're getting swept, it doesn't necessarily mean that the team was better. One classic example of that, you know, next time you guys are playing war zones and you're looking at the overall team's results, well, there's a part where you can compare your team stats to the opposition stats. Dude, I don't know how many times I've been in games where we have lost, like, big time, but when you look at the stats, our team had more kills, our team had a better overall kill-death ratio, and our team performed better as far as shooting is concerned. So by just looking at those things and paying attention, you would think to yourself, okay, well, if we had better stats as far as shooting, suppressing fires, getting kills and everything else, and our KDR was higher, our collective KDR was higher, then how did we lose? And that's yet another situation wherein you lost, not because you know, your team was far superior as far as performance is concerned. You lost because of a lack of organization. Right, so enough about that. So I'll upload that Spire video sometime soon, more than likely this week. I'll have probably about 5 or 6 videos, and actually I have a few videos that I really need to add commentary to. So, you know, I won't go ahead and you know, overwhelm you guys with multiple videos in one day. Right, I know some of you guys enjoy it, but I know a lot of you other guys don't necessarily want to sit through several videos in one sitting. So I'll make sure I'll get those videos out. So I hope you guys enjoyed the Scout Class Showcase. Like I said before, you will not see me sit back and camping, but thanks to the more recent Kameraad buff, you can definitely be effective and defend yourself. Alright guys, so hey, until next time, Martyrs Brigade is